2022, July to be exact, right? That is when this came out. Now, this was Nothing's first ever phone when they came into the market, and they came in it with a statement. Purely because of how it was designed. It has a transparent glass pack with the glint lights there, and that's the thing that kind of drew me to this phone because at the time I didn't really see anything like it. Now, 4 years later, they're kind of saying goodbye to this because it received its final update. Now, when you hear that, you're probably thinking, end of support, is it dead now? Not really, but it's still a great budget phone if you already have it. If not, then I'll just say get the newer versions that have released because this one here has kind of aged in certain specific ways. First thing, Nothing didn't just create this phone and just forget about it. Back in 2022, they did promise 3 years of Android updates and then also 4 years of security patches, which they actually delivered on that. So what happens now that support is over? Honestly, nothing really changes. If you have it and you're still rocking it, you can still use it as your day-to-day phone. You just won't get anything new like Android updates or just security patches. Other than that, it's still a decent phone to actually have, just not as your main. I think the design is still the strongest thing about this phone. The glass back, aluminium frame, and obviously the glint flash that I mentioned before. 4 years on and it still looks like nothing thought hard about this design and not just something that was just rushed and pushed out the door. They kind of intentionally knew what they were doing here. Performance is a different story when it comes to this. It runs on the Snapdragon 77AG Plus, which is basically the brain of the phone. This is the thing that decides how fast everything opens up and how smooth it feels. So for any texting, scrolling, browsing, I think you're still good to use this. Now for me personally, the battery at this point is not really a pain because this is honestly not my everyday phone. I mainly have this as a secondary when I'm out and about, and it definitely comes in handy when my iPhone is on its last legs and I can just battery share so I can keep the phone on until I actually get home. The camera is still pretty decent for its age as long as you're outside in daylight or in a decent environment. It can still capture some good shots as it has a 50 megapixel main camera and also a 50 megapixel ultra wide. I've even found that even when it's not even bright, it can still perform well. Now the display is where it shows its age the most. If you're using this outside on a sunny day, this is where you're going to feel it, and expect to be covering your face like this on the phone just so you can see the screen in general. So if you have one, should you keep it? Well, yeah, if you love the design, you use it casually for calls or social media, or you have it as a secondary phone as I do, then feel free to do so. But if you want anything more than that, then just upgrade to the latest one, which is the Nothing 4B, I believe, right now. For now, this is probably going to stay as my secondary phone. I do probably want to upgrade to the iPhone Air, but we're going to see how it goes. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.